Okay, I have to say this, it has been in my mind for a long time. Lady Geist early concept looks very much similar to Kate Winslet from Titanic, right? I knew she looked like someone, I just couldn't point out exactly, but eventually I realized she looks very much like Kate Winslet. So most likely, yes, Valve did take inspiration from Kate Winslet, but I do not mind this at all. She looks great. But keeping that aside, my favorite characters are actually Shiv and Ivy, so why the hell am I even talking about Lady Geist? I actually talked about the same thing in my previous video, in the tier list video that I made, but I still believe that she has the potential to be the best villain of Deadlock story. So I created a short story just out of my ass basically, and I just want to talk about that, and then we can talk about why I think she can make very good villain. But before even talking about that story, let us imagine that you are a 70-year-old person, right? And you made a pact with a demon, and in the next day you woke up completely young. How would you tackle that? Because you cannot just go to your relatives and talk normally, because they would want to know as well how to become young. And people like government and scientists would love to know and torture you to actually get to know what is the reason. So most definitely you would want to keep this a secret, right? So keep that in mind when I'm talking about this short story. For 4 entire generations, Geist family surprisingly had only daughters. We now focus on Geist number 5, which we play in the game. So she is in a foreign country. She was in this foreign country for a long time. She was sent here for studies when she was a little girl. And here she is. She has completed her PhD in physical geography. Her parents unfortunately died when she was young, so she didn't even get enough time to mourn her parents. So she goes back to her house, but she doesn't remember a lot because she becomes unconscious, and by the time she even wakes up, she is locked with a spirit on her right hand. And the spirit can actually talk, and it is demanding some very unsettling things. So she is now on a quest to completely free herself from this so-called Oath Keeper. So with the connections she made when she was pursuing this physical geography, she meets with a Indiana Jones type of person who is a very good treasure hunter, and together they go on this adventure and find an artifact which can summon the patrons. But as soon as she gets the ability to summon the patrons, we see the true side of Lady Geist. So after finding the artifact, the Indiana Jones character actually just disappears out of nowhere. We will also get to know that Lady Geist, she has been alive for 200 plus years basically, and she is the one that is creating all of these stories. But how did she manage to create these stories? If you look at the lore of Lady Geist, the first husband, Johann, is actually on board with Lady Geist fusing with Oathkeeper, so she should not have any problems with her first husband. But after that, she should have some problems, right? She still needs to create this facade that she is the daughter of her mother, which actually does not exist because she is the mother and she's the daughter as well. So she needs to create this story that she is a daughter of Geist. So how the hell does Geist avoid all of this hassle? Before marrying anyone, she actually tells them her conditions basically. The husband or fiance can basically cheat on her if they want to, and they can take how much wealth they want. But they cannot reveal the trade secrets or any secrets of Geist family to anyone. That's how she was able to manage the entire secret at least for few centuries, but few decades ago, something slipped up. Unfortunately, the husband was about to reveal the secret to others, and so she just created a story that due to some financial reasons, both the parents actually took their own lives. That's why in the beginning, I just told you, right? Geist number 5 actually had her parents dead when she was little. So that's the reason. Again, these are all the stories that she created, and she's very particular. She cannot let this secret out because again, it's a very big risk to her life. But sometimes we can also see the humane part of Geist. We see her basically stalking a family. Eventually we realize that this is her grand family. If you look at the lore, Geist actually had a son with her first husband. But eventually, after knowing all of these risks, she just distanced herself from him basically. But she still just looks at them from time to time. So there is a reason, right? Like there is a strong reason why she is not letting go of immortality, even though she wants to stay with her grand family, right? Like grandsons. there is a reason why she still holds on to this immortality. The thing about time is time will always change people. The you today will be different from the you tomorrow. Today you might like a certain ice cream flavor, tomorrow you might hate it. For example, in my childhood, I used to hate certain vegetables, but now I don't mind those same vegetables. So definitely I'm changed. But now multiply the same scenario by few centuries. So at this point, people will definitely change. But Lady Geist still holds on to this hope of trying to stay immortal. In the lore, it is explained that Lady Geist hates the older self or of herself because she feels like that is a weaker version of her. And that reasoning is not bad at all, but my biggest gripe with that story is no one respects Lady Geist in that story. Like I saw that even Fairfax, she meets Fairfax and he basically just calls her a bitch and she does not say anything. It was kind of pathetic looking at her like that. And that's what I did not like. It's okay, right? Like sometimes it's okay to make a character feels very awful, right? Like they have a very pathetic side of them. But I really don't think it is necessary to go in that direction. And another point that is even more awful is her attitude. She feels like a child in the novel. She's always arrogant. She does not show any respect to anyone. She even kills her son in one of the endings. And it doesn't feel real, dude. Like, how did she, such an arrogant person, was even able to backstab Oathkeeper? What is real is she is afraid of time, right? She knows that she does not have unlimited amount of time. She knows that Oathkeeper is asking for more and more and she cannot keep up with the demands. So she has very limited time. Even though she can live for centuries, it comes with a price and she cannot completely pay it. So what I think is a better opportunity is to tilt Lady Geist's personality into a far more intelligent and scarier person. Like imagine she knows that she does not have a lot of time. So what she does is with the time she has left, she tries to get as much advantage as she can. So she completes multiple different PhDs in psychology, and I just looked about this PhD. It seems, average person can complete it around 7 years. So I'm just rounding off to 10 years. So 200 years and a dozen PhDs, it doesn't feel impossible, right? So let us imagine she is a very manipulative person. And this type of story is not impossible. Let's take Death Note for example. Light Yagami, which is the main protagonist of the story, or you can say the main villain of the story, his initial start to use the Death Note is for a noble cause. He wants to save the world from criminals, so he starts killing them. But eventually, the idea morphs into him becoming the god of this new world. We can take kind of similar aspect, like she wants to live because she hates that older part of her, but eventually that just morphs into her just manipulating every single person just she comes across. So in this pursuit of greed and trying to stay immortal, she is the cause of the catalyst of summoning the patrons. So she discovers that there are 2 artifacts that can summon 2 different patrons. So she has 2 wishes that she can use. So that's a very golden opportunity, right? So she immediately utilizes both of them. But there is a big caveat. After summoning both the patrons, it seems only one patron can exist in one plane. So now both of the patrons fight to exist in Earth. So that's what causes the entire ritual, basically. So that's the reason why Deadlock even exists. So that's a pretty interesting way of starting the Deadlock universe, right? And again, this is just a shit story I just created out of thin air. I bet that Valve can create something very unique. But yeah, the main reason why I think Lady Geist can be a very interesting villain is because of time, dude. She has time. I know Drifter also has very similar story. Basically, he is far more older than Lady Geist. But the main reason why I think Lady Geist makes a lot more depth, like very interesting character, is because, she is very humane, dude. Like she wants to stay alive, and that is understandable. But the way how far she's going and literally destroying the world, summoning these patrons and putting other people in harm, she's going that far in order to stay alive. So again, it can make a very interesting villain. Or we can steer into a completely different direction. We can say that, Lady Geist wants to fix this world. Again, very similar to Death Note basically. So that can also make a very interesting story, right? So there is multiple different ways Valve can take this, but I think it makes a lot more interesting thing if the playable characters or playable heroes, some of them at least should be villains, or else it just looks very bland. So the main reason why I think Deadlock is completely different is because there is so much shit talk between characters. Like, Viper is one of my favorite voice actors because how she voice acts with multiple different characters, right? She loves Lash. Okay, that's something. Actually, she is obsessed with Lash. And again, this is something we never see in other games, right? So it is such an interesting take. And I think Lady Geist being a villain actually adds more depth to the entire roster. Again, it's just me that I'm just thinking about this. But if you have your own versions, then again, just tell me about it. I would love to know. If you have a different version or if you have your own theory also, just tell me about it because I think everyone would love to know about it. But yeah, I just wanted to talk about Lady Geist, and I think it can be very interesting how things can pan out. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, then consider liking and subscribing. I hope to see you in my next video. Take care of your health, sleep well, and bye bye.